Let's go ahead and get into this next round 4. We got Joe with the Charizard versus Evan with Roaring Moon. I believe Evan also plays catchers. This matchup, honestly, I'm actually not too sure. With catchers, it's way closer. So the problem with this matchup for Roaring Moon is you want to try and draw prize cards before the Charizard player. But if you have to take a 1-prize knockout with like a Roaring Moon or even the Morpeko, that opens it up for the Charizard player to counter catcher, get a knockout, or just knock out your active Moon with like a Defiance Band or Justified Gloves. Now, almost no Charizard players play Justified Gloves or Defiance Band, which I think does need to change for Charizard builds. And also Radiant Charizard's a big deal as well. And Joe does play the Radiant Charizard. And the Radiant Charizard is like super hard for the Roaring Moon deck to overcome. So yeah, the catchers make a big difference in this matchup for sure. And this is definitely a matchup where you both want to go second. Both players want to go second in this one. You want to go second. You want to nerf the Charizard's initial setup and then start taking early KOs. And then nerf the setup and take initial KOs. And then for Charizard, you just want to or set up smoother before your opponent takes that first knockout. Roaring Moon's always taking the first knockout if they want to. You just want to have more stuff to be able to respond to those KOs. So it looks like Joe did win the coin flip here and chose second. But the hand is not great. It actually has absolutely nothing. This hand sucks. It does have Candy Pidgeot, but the Pidgey's in the active. So we'll see what Evan can put together here. Evan has 3 Dark Patch in hand, I believe, with research. Yikes. Oh my gosh. I do like Evan prioritizing KOing the Pidgey here, though, for sure. Remove the quick search option away. Doesn't go for the catcher on a Charmander there. If there was one Charmander on the bench, you'd love to have seen that. And honestly, I don't even think Evan... Oh, no. Evan can get the knockout here. Evan can get the KO here. The question is, do you go for this knockout as Evan? I think at this point, you probably do. You don't want to take too long to get your first knockout. So Evan does have attach plus the energy. Now, the problem here for Evan becomes if Joe has like Arvin, Candyzard, Choice Belt, this Moltres goes down, and then Evan's not in a great spot after that, especially with 3 Dark Patch hitting the discard pile. But if you wait any longer than that as Evan, you probably also get into a bad spot anyways. So I think I do like to see just Evan take this knockout and be like, even if you have the Candy Charizard, you need the Choice Belt. And in this kind of situation here for sure, or for as well, is like there's no counter catcher target here. No Squawkabilly, no Mew. And we see Evan, the only things that Evan's putting in play is 2 Roaring Moons. So even if Joe has like the counter catcher here, there's no target for it at all. There's no target for it at all. Doesn't need Belt. No, we need Belt. Oh, no, you don't need the Belt because it hits itself. I forgot about that. That's right. It hits itself. I forgot about that. That does make this play a little bit more sketch then, actually, to be honest. But I guess it comes back to you really have another choice. I always forget that it hits itself for 30. Do you really have another choice here as Evan anyways? You got rid of 3 Dark Patch. Slow start. Now it's making me reconsider it, to be honest, because you're not forcing Joe to find the Choice Belt. Yeah, no, I think this is still correct here, though. There's the Arvin top deck. But is this actually going to do anything for Joe? There's no Candy Charizard coming out of this. What actually comes out of this for Joe? I'm actually not sure. Oh, no, wait, there's Candy Charizard. Never mind, I take it back. I take it back. I take it back. Do I have any merch to buy? No, merch is something I'm going to work on more this year, but I don't have it quite figured out yet. Here comes the Ultra Ball. Pidgeot, Team Devo biting the dust. Honestly, probably should have kept the Pidgeot. I actually don't like the Pidgeot discard there from Joe. Should have got rid of the Choice Belt, probably. Because Choice Belt doesn't really do anything anymore at this point in this matchup. I guess it allows you to chase down the Moltres on the next turn. Maybe it is worth keeping, actually. I take it back. Because then you can actually go Boss KO Moltres next turn as Joe here. With the Choice Belt. Yeah, it's probably worth it then. I guess actually one thing that Joe could have done here, though, instead of Ultra Balling for... Wait, why was there an Ultra Ball involved? We could have Ultra Balled for Luminion and use Luminion to go get a supporter and then attach the 4 Seal Stone and then 4 Seal Stone for the Charizard because then we'd have a supporter in hand. I don't know if I love that because then you're still hoping to draw... You're still hoping to draw... You're still hoping to draw into... Candy Charizard on the other side, though. Why do you evolve that Charmander and not the other? I'm Honestly, it doesn't really matter one way or the other which one you evolve here in this situation, I don't think. They're both like equally, yeah. They're both like equal here, I think. Was there a Lugia match at all in the stream this last weekend? Yeah, the winning of day one was Lugia versus Tina. He got the Ultra Ball with Arvin. Yeah, he got the Ultra Ball with Arvin. But we could have Ultra Balled for Luminion. And then Luminion for a supporter. And then attach the Force Seal Stone and then Force Seal Stone for Charizard. And then we'd have a supporter for next turn with Candy Charizard. I don't know if that's worth it, though. Worth expending our Force Seal Stone over. When we're going to get 2 prize cards plus a top deck. What's prized probably matters a lot here. And there was an Ultra Ball prized. So then if Joe hits the Ultra Ball, it makes a little bit more sense to have wanted to chill. With the Ultra Ball prize, I think it was correct for Joe to play it how he did. And then it could also top deck here as well. All right. So for Evan here, we need to find Frenzy Gouging. Yeah, we need to find Frenzy Gouging here for Evan. It's a little... We also want to find like a tool card, the Jelly or the Booster Capsule. And honestly, the hand here for Evan, it's pretty mid. And he's maybe even thinking about playing the Iono, actually. Or the Judge. And just abandoning the Sada. He's going to go for the Iono here. I actually wonder... I think Joe should have attached the Choice Belt active, actually, the more I'm thinking about it. Because now in this situation, we're in a situation where Joe actually can't take a knockout on the active Roaring Moon and can't boss KO the Moltres off the bench. But if we'd attach the Choice Belt to the active Charizard, we could go boss KO Moltres and set ourselves up in a really good spot here as Joe. So I think it's a misplay from Joe to actually have not attached the Choice Belt. I don't know what the rest of Joe's hand looked like, and maybe he was trying to hold on to the Choice Belt to potentially Ultra Ball away the Choice Belt. But was getting 2 prize cards plus a top deck for the next turn, and had some other cards at hand in the work with as well, in the hand to work with as well. So I think Joe should have attached the Choice Belt to the Charizard in case of getting disrupted here, to make it easy to go boss KO on the Moltres on this following turn. So we'd like to have seen Joe do that. I think there's like another thing I was going to mention here actually as well, but I can't actually think of. I had something else to mention to throw out here as well that mattered, but now I just literally am drawing a freaking blank. Pretty cool. Let's see. Evan, actually, I think it's impossible for Evan to get the knockout here. No, it's not true. Evan could get like switch, E-switch. There's an E-switch. No switch, though. It does still have concealed cards, though, I think. I think Evan still has concealed cards. Here it comes. Draw 2. Alpad. I can't tell what that other card is. Vessel. So not quite. Was close. Would have needed switch and E-switch. Does have the E-switch, no switch. But should be pretty easy for Evan to pull off an attack next turn. Has the Sada on hand and everything, so... Morpeko even making its way to the bench. Honestly, I don't love the Morpeko bench here from Evan, because this does open the possibility for Joe to go like, okay, cool, I can't KO any 2-prizer in play right now. Maybe I'll boss a 1-prizer. But to be honest, I think if Joe has boss here, you probably want to boss punch Roaring Moon actually here. You appreciate the 2 months there, Patty Stacks. Oh yeah, what was I going to say was, oh yeah, Edwin, I'll definitely hit you up about that maybe, for sure. I just need to figure out what I plan to do with merch stuff moving forward. I do plan on doing something this year at some point. But, yeah, I might send you a message about that, actually. Appreciate the 26 months as well there, Will. Definitely maybe for sure. Yeah, definitely maybe for sure. Yeah, if Joe does get a boss here, the best play from Joe is probably boss punch the Roaring Moon. So that way if it Frenzy Gouging, it knocks itself out. There's a Radiant Charizard hit from Joe. That's pretty solid. Has an Iono and a Vacuum as well. Can't play the Vacuum, unfortunately. But, once again... If there was a Choice Belt on the active Charizard, we could have played the Vacuum here, which would have been pretty good to play here, to be honest, because you'd like to thin out these dead cards from Joe, which is the Vacuum and the Battle VIP Pass. So once again, Choice Belt being in play here, even though we don't have the boss to boss KO, that benched Moltres, you know, just thinning 2 dead cards out of the deck is pretty chill. Draw there from Joe. Did get the Charmeleon, which is a big hit. Has a Radiant Charizard with an energy. Also decent. And then it's just going to be a punch from Joe, which isn't great. This still kind of leaves, I feel like, Evan in like the advantageous position overall. It's close still. It's close. For Evan here, you just need to get, once again, to that Frenzy Gouge. It has the Jelly to go with it as well. Got the Jelly. Has an energy switch. He's going to start with the concealed cards here, actually. Ooh, there's a 4 Seal Stones. That could lead to the Sada. Sada actually seems really good here. Sada seems like the play here, actually. Because you can Sada to both moons. Retreat the active moon. E-switch to the active moon. Oh, E-switch to that moon. Or we're just going to go Force Seal Stone for a switch card. I guess that also makes sense. Maybe I'm trolling with the Sada play, actually. Well, I feel like Evan might be trolling with getting rid of Boss, though. Boss seems pretty good to keep here as well, though. No, but isn't Sada better than... Sada sees as 3 cards, whereas switch card is just a switch card. Because what Evan could have done was Sada to both moons. As long as there's enough energy in the discard pile, to be honest. There might actually not be enough energy in the discard pile. Sada to both moons, Moltres for an energy, E-switch to the active, retreat. I guess we end up with one less energy in play overall. Because like in this situation, we keep an energy on our Moltres, but then we get to Sada for +3 cards. So if there's enough energy in the discard pile, I feel like Sada's better. But honestly, there might not be enough energy in the discard pile. You know, appreciate the 8 months there, Rotom. There's the switch card, excuse me. And then here comes the Frenzy Gouging. Not a whole ton left in the hand for Evan to work with, to be honest. There's the damage. Could have also Ultra Balled for Mew EX there to get more options for the next turn. I would have hated to see that from Evan, but then was going to give up the boss, which boss seems pretty good here from Evan. So I don't know if I love the idea of losing the boss there. And it seems like Evan also did not love the idea of losing the boss. So for Joe here, Joe needs to attack with Radiant Charizard or a Charizard. So Joe needs to top deck. Joe's hand currently doesn't have an attack for either of those Pokemon. So Joe needs to top deck Ultra Ball, Charizard, or Energy. So with that in mind, you probably send up Radiant Charizard because that does maximize your odds to attack with. Even though you would like to attack with Charizard instead of Radiant Charizard here, I think you probably push the Radiant Charizard because it does maximize your odds for getting off an attack this turn. We see Joe's working through it here, trying to figure out what to send up here. Now you would rather push up the Charmeleon than attack with Charizard because then once your Charizard gets knocked out, you can take a knockout back with the Radiant Charizard. But you have less odds of making that top deck here. Doesn't mean it's definitely the incorrect play, but it's like the higher odds play of getting a knockout this turn is Radiant Charizard. Is it the correct play though? We'll see. You appreciate the 2 months there, D Thrash. There we go, Radiant Charizard up. Top deck is... I can't tell. Can't be great. Oh, maybe it's a Super Rod. It is Super Rod. Is there an Iono in the hand here for Joe? There might be an Iono here. Nope, it's VIP Fast Candy. And there's the pass over to Evan. All right, now here's where things probably get a little bit out of control here. I think we have the boss in the hand for Evan as well. But if you boss and the Radiant Charizard can attack you... Actually, this is actually an interesting situation here for Evan. So if you boss KO the Charmeleon, there's no Charizard threat. Because currently, Evan's board can't handle the threat of a Charizard. That's like the big thing here. Currently, Evan's board state cannot handle the threat of a Charizard. I actually question whether Joe should have played that Super Rod for what... Because Joe putting 2 energy back in the deck doesn't do anything for Joe. The Charizard's good, but you have to assume Evan's going to take a knockout here almost for sure, right? Like, I think Evan's definitely taking a KO here, so why would you put the 2 energy back in the deck at that point? If you put both energy back in the deck at that point, now you decrease your odds of top taking a Charizard, and then if Evan KOs your bench Charmeleon, your Charizard can attack. I feel like Evan... Or I feel like Joe shouldn't have shuffled all that back in the deck. Joe maybe should have just shuffled back Charizard, or honestly just shuffle back nothing and just see what your top deck gives you and let Evan make a play based on the lack of information of Super Rod being played. Yeah, I actually don't think Joe should have played Super Rod there because that gives Evan like a ton of information to work with, I feel like. And then it just decreases your odds of top decking. So now at this point, it feels like it's almost better for Evan to take the knockout on the Charizard and then set up for a Frenzy Gouging. Yeah, but Boss KO is still pretty... I don't know. It just feels like the Super Rod just feels incorrect here from Joe. The Super Rod just feels incorrect here from Joe. Unless you were pulling off an attack, then Super Rod could have been correct, of course. But actually, even maybe the better attack here for Evan is to just attack with the Moltres, actually, probably. Well, the weird thing here for Evan is that Evan can't create a fresh moon. I guess if Evan can get the tool... the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule on this moon that's in the active, that would save it, right? That would allow it to survive. So if Evan can go retreat this moon to attack with Moltres for turn and then get the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule on this moon, then Evan can guaranteed win the game with that line. I kind of like that, yeah. Yeah, but Evan has to find that second Ancient Booster Energy Capsule if Evan even plays 2, to be honest. We've seen 1 get milled already. But I feel like the way that Evan's been playing this now almost like is telling us that Evan does play the 2 and just needs to kind of find it. We'll see, though. Looks like drew into a Palpad. Yep, Palpad just put research back and then increase the good top deck odds by 1. Sounds good. Also on VIP list Guardy. That seems worse than Guardy with VIP pass. But close. There's this card of the stop. Doesn't retreat to the Moltres. So now if Joe top decks a Charizard here... If Joe top decks a Charizard here, Joe goes knockout, then Evan doesn't have a response to that. Doesn't have a Frenzy Gouging response. Yeah, this is not going to be good enough here. Counter catcher. I mean, it should just be on the moon with the 2 retreat cost. Evan was already about to send it up too. Is there any reason to not? Yeah, I think it's always the moon here. I don't think that makes a difference ever. There's the pass. Escape rope from Evan. Okay, the Charmeleon goes down. Yeah, see, but that attack was weird here from Evan. Maybe Evan didn't have the Ancient Booster Capsules left. But even then, this other moon just wasn't ready to go. I mean, Evan could have created a third Roaring Moon, of course, as well. There could have been like a third Roaring Moon that got added to the equation, but I don't even know if that was possible. I mean, I guess like Sada attach. I don't think Evan's hand really had the cards for it. Sada attach, E-switch, like it was possible, but it seemed kind of tough. All right, we're going to game 2. Once again, Joe probably going to go, or definitely going to go second here, I would assume. Prize cards, Candy, Charmeleon prize, not great. Pidgey prize, whatever. I guess the biggest thing here is just a Charmeleon between everything. Rating Greninja for Evan is actually pretty bad as well. So Rating Greninja, especially when you go first, it feels like better to get the Rating Greninja online and drawing you extra cards. Because you don't have the draw supporter to work with. But I guess it's like the same thing either way. Just prize and Rating Greninja sucks for Evan. And then Charmeleon's not great for Joe because it's like one of your easier ways to like chain your Charizards. Especially if you get put into a situation where you don't have access to Pidgeot. So, all right, opening here for Evan is okay. There's an Ultra Ball in the hand, and the Squawkabilly's not prized. So, Evan, both boosters got researched. Oh, both of them got researched? Okay. That doesn't make things harder then. I don't think I prized Greninja once the whole day. Kind of lucky, to be honest. Yeah, maybe a little bit to not prize it once. And it looks like Evan, with getting rid of the Iono there, I assume Evan is going to go for the Squawkabilly here. There we go, Squawkabilly. Palpad's back Iono. Have that for later. And then, yeah, trying to get a little bit more aggressive of a setup here is Evan with the Squawkabilly. There we go. 10% chance every game to prize a one of. Well, it's a little bit less with a basic Pokemon, right? Yeah, so nothing too egregious was discarded there, I don't think. Yeah, it should be fine. And it did hit the Battle VIP pass. Go get, well, Greninja ideally, but Greninja's prized. So we're going to look for probably another Moon. Maybe a Mew. Is Lonnie up second Moltres? But I don't think we're taking second Moltres here as Evan. That was only that first game when we thought there was a possibility our first Moltres got KO'd. So it is Moon Mew. No Greninja to back up the squad, unfortunately. But I think we actually might even be able to draw some cards here off this Mew this turn. There's another Moon in hand. There might be a Dark Patch in hand as well. Yeah, another Moon. We've already attached return, I believe, to the active Moltres, unless that was the ability. That was the attachment. So here comes the ability there. And then that's what I wanted to ask. When does Jelly trigger? Is it, so yeah, I assume it doesn't discard at the end of your turn, right? It's only when you have like the damage. Okay. But this could get vacuumed now, but I think that's probably fine. Like if it gets vacuumed, it gets vacuumed. Honestly, I wouldn't have hated to have seen Evan play the energy switch and draw that extra card off Mew. I actually think I would have liked to move energy off the Moltres to a Roaring Moon and draw that extra card, I think. I would like to have seen the extra card get drawn there. And there's the pass. I actually don't even hate the idea of playing the Vessel as well to get an extra energy in the discard pile. So if you do get Iono'd here as Evan, then you have more energy in your discard pile to work with. One more thing. There's one more thing that I thought I saw there too. No, I think that was it. Oh yeah, the jelly placement. I guess it depends if we want our Moltres to be in the active or not, but we could have. I don't think we want the Moltres to be in the active though if we take our first knockout. I think we want it to be a Moon. So I feel like the jelly should be on the other Roaring Moon that's not as set up. Because this first Roaring Moon that it attacks with is not going to use Frenzied Gouging. It's going to use Calamity Storm or whatever it's called. So I feel like the jelly should be on the other Roaring Moon here. Now, it is still possible for Evan to set up this other Roaring Moon with 3 energy on the next turn, but it's harder to do 3 energy than 2 energy. So I feel like this jelly should be on the other Roaring Moon. Because the first Roaring Moon we attack with probably isn't using Calamity Storm. And if Evan ends up attacking first with Moltres anyways, which you probably don't want to do, then by that point you could have shifted your energy over or started to prioritize the jellied Roaring Moon at that point, I feel like, as Evan. So I don't like this jelly placement here from Evan. I mean, it's the jelly or the energy placement. It doesn't matter. They should just be split, basically. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. They should basically just be split. All right. Let's see if Joe has a little bit better of a start here. Not looking like it. Does have a boss on a Moon, but did put the Rotom in play, which is what you don't want to have in play. And only 1 Charmander down. So some great boss targets, or honestly, some great escape rope targets here from Evan. Like, escape rope is really, really good here. You either KO the lone Charmander, which means there's no attack threat next turn from Joe, or you KO the Rotom, which is a 2-prize knockout, which then puts you ahead on the prize exchange here. Yeah. This is looking pretty good here for Evan. If Evan can find escape rope or boss or something like that. But I actually think escape rope's in the discard pile here for Evan off that initial squawk ability. So there actually might not be an escape rope to utilize. So then at that point, we're looking for a catcher heads here from Evan. And you definitely want to play like there's a strong possibility that Joe has like a Candy Charizard on that next turn. For sure. We'll see what gets put together here. Going to be an attach active, an E-switch active, and then a Mew for 2 before the Sada, into a switch card and an energy. I wonder if Evan also just doesn't attack here if Evan doesn't get an escape rope or a gust. I actually don't hate the idea of Evan just being like, I'll chill. But there is the catcher. And some Force Seal Stones for later. Here's a catcher. It's a Tails. I feel like Evan should just pass here, though. Because you take this knockout on the active, then you get Candy Zard counter catcher. I mean, all right, so it's weird. Because, like, Joe is really not set up very well at all. So any knockout here from Evan puts a lot of pressure on Joe. But Evan could just pass here. We'll see what Evan chooses to do here, though. V-Star power is happening. Yeah, catcher is grabbed. So it's just going to be try to be a little bit more aggressive still. Just going to go for another catcher. Catcher up the... And it is a Tails, I think. See, I don't know if I like that from... I think Evan could have just passed. But like, all right, hold my hand, pass. Because like, there's nothing Joe can do to be aggressive on this next turn. It's just never happening. So then Evan could use the Force Shields to go get boss, and then you boss KO the Charmander or something like that. Yeah, so I don't love this choice from Evan. I think Evan should have chilled. Like, I think you're in a comfortable spot enough here as Evan should just chill. You should just chill. Hold the Force Shields, don't use. Don't even put it in play. Don't let it get vacuumed. Use the first catcher. If you get heads on that first catcher, dope. You know, bring up the Charmander, knock him out. You know, go from there. But I think it's an overcommitment here from Evan to put the Force Shield Stone in play. Use the Force Shield Stone to get a catcher when you could just pass here. And with how slow of a start Joe had, I think passing here is just like fine for sure. Calamity for 100. Oh yeah, I guess at least a Calamity for 100 on the Charizard, of course. Yeah, you may as well Calamity for 100. But all right, let's see what Joe can put together. It does have this Radiant Charizard in the active, which is obviously terrible. The hand does not look great. Is it just Rotom for 3? Jeez, man. What? That's awful. Has a counter catcher, can't play it. There's an Arven. Okay, so no, it's not quite that bad. There's a couple ways that Joe could handle this here. I think Joe should honestly just swarm with Charmanders. I think Joe should just, or like get down. Ideally, I think Joe should just go Charmander. Yeah, I think Joe should just go Charmander, Pidgey, and then draw 3 more with Rotom. I think that's what I'd like to see from Joe here. Just kind of chill still. I think it is, unless Joe can go. I don't think Joe can actually take a knockout this turn. Just punching a Roaring Moon here does not seem great. Seems very okay. So I think just going Pidgey, Charmander, pass seems fine. But I do see Joe lining up the switch, so it looks like Joe is going to go for the punch here. The punch just seems unnecessarily aggressive here from Joe. But there it is, Candy Charizard. Yeah, because this punch is the punch is okay. But this punch is going to be responded to by Evan going into the other Roaring Moon and using Frenzy Gouging. There's the Force Seal Zone for the switch. Punch for 180 on the active. Evan's going to go Frenzy Gouging with the benched Roaring Moon for the knockout. I honestly wonder if Joe should have... I don't like getting rid of Luminion here. I definitely don't like that. I don't know what the rest of the hand is, but getting rid of Luminion does not seem correct. Yeah, should definitely keep Luminion there. What if we had loaded the energy onto the Charizard instead? I guess it's like kind of... I guess we're too far away from being able to utilize that, though. Never mind. Well, are we, though? We're a little bit far away. Yeah, I think Joe should have just chilled. I think Joe should have just got Pidgey down, get Charmander down, and draw 3 more with Rotom. And then next turn, go for Candy Pidgey, Candy Charizard, attack with Radiant Sword or something. I don't even know. Counter catcher KO for 2 or something. Especially after Evan like commits the Force Seal Zone for the catcher. Like, it's almost like the same thing where it's like Joe had a really slow start. So Evan doesn't need to be aggressive and do the Force Seal Stone shenanigans. Just chill. And it's like Joe should look at this and be like, oh, they just went really aggressive with this Force Seal Stone play, whiffed. I'm just gonna chill. It's like, all right, I'm just gonna chill. Like, just take the chill route. I feel like both players should just chill a little bit more. I think that just like both playing too aggressively for no reason here. And now we see this this Charizard in the active, and now it's just going to go down to a Frenzy Gouging. There is the jelly did get taken care of to the vacuum though, which is good for Joe. The jelly's gone, which means the Heat Tackle can come through for a return knockout. But Joe has nothing set up. Like the Pidgeot Charizard deck is called Pidgeot Charizard because Charizard's your really good attacking Pokemon and Pidgeot's are really good supporting Pokemon. And the reason both of the cards things are in the name is because you use both of them a lot and they're both really good to have set up. But Charizard without Pidgeot is pretty bad, and Pidgeot without Charizard is even worse. But yeah, I don't know, just getting Pidgeot set up is pretty good. Basically, what I'm trying to get to is we need Pidgeot, bro. We need the Pidgeot. Yeah, where's the Pidgeot? Where's the Pidgeot? No Pidgeot. I mean, obviously in the first game, Evan KO'd the lone Pidgey, so that changes things a little bit, but would it have been fine to punch with Heat Tackle last turn? I don't think it's worth using your Force Seal Stone to get a switch to use Heat Tackle. Like, Heat Tackle's like fine, but like I don't think it's worth it. Yeah, you should just chill. Okay, so Evan gets the Frenzy Gouging off. Now, the one thing here is both of these Roaring Moons are really damaged. And the Heat Tackle's going to come through for a knockout. But Joe needs to find like another Charizard here. Another Charmander, excuse me, to get into a Charizard. Sooner than later. Sooner than later for sure. Even had the Pidgeot in hand. So if Joe had gone the Pidgey route and just drawn 3-1 with Rotom, we probably would have had Candy Pidgeot, Candy Charizard, and Joe would have been cooking from there, I feel like. He's just going to go for Luminion for Iono. But now, Joe does have two more two-prizers in play in the Rotom and the Luminion. Is going to force Evan to have to find the gusts to do that, though. But still, they're there. They're right there on the bench. One is Rotom and one is Luminion. So now that Evan only needs to go Gust to win this game at this point. And like the attackers are basically set up here for Evan. Evan has a Roaring Moon on the bench with 3 energy and the Moltres, which can self-accelerate energy to itself. So all you need to do is find a Dark Patch or an attachment over 2 turns for Evan. And here are your 2 attackers to close out the 2 two-prizers here. You will need to find a Stadium so you don't have to Frenzy Gouging here as Evan. But yeah, Evan is just a Gust and a Gust away from getting there. Does Joe have Collapse left? Joe does have Collapse left, but being able to actually get the Collapsed off at this point in this situation is pretty unlikely, to be honest. It's pretty unlikely. Joe thinking about discarding Ultra Ball here. I think should probably give up the Fire Energy here. He's gonna go get another Charmander, I assume. But probably I think should have gotten rid of the Fire Energy and then look for a Super Rod Candy with Ultra Ball in the next turn. Because he's getting a card off the top deck plus 2 cards off the prize cards, which frees up the Arven to go find Super Rod and then use the other Ultra Ball to find another Charizard. So I actually don't like that play there from Joe. Probably should have kept the Ultra Ball. I don't like getting rid of the Ultra Ball there from Joe. Should have kept the Ultra. Should not have Ultra Ball. Should have Ultra Ball away Vacuum and the Fire Energy in there. I think we had time to find Super Rod out of that hand. Oh man, there was really good prize cards to pull off Candy Charizard as well. We had Charizard and there were Candy in there as well. Oh, and another Ultra Ball. But still. All right, catcher coming in from Evan. We already talked about it. There's the heads. You should go after the Luminion here, I think. You should go after the Luminion here, I think, because this allows Joe to vacuum away the Force Seal. There's already Force Seal on your side. Does it matter? No, I guess you always go after Rotom so Joe can't draw with Rotom, but that's still a losing situation anyways. But yeah, I guess you always go after Rotom because of that anyways, though. In my head, I was thinking you don't want to remove the Force Seal Stone from play because then it allows Joe to vacuum the Force Seal Stone, but you have 2 Force Seal Stones on your side as Evan here, so it doesn't really matter, to be honest. And actually, now we are setting up a fresh Roaring Moon here for Evan as well, which will give us actually the out to the Frenzy Gouging if we want it, without like tying the game or going to a tiebreaker match, which Evan's already like advantaged in anyways to begin with, so it's like not that big of a deal for Evan. Like Evan would be fine going there. And there's the Pokestop hit as well. Actually, I feel like does it matter Pokestop versus Town Store? I think the Pokestop was better to save here as Evan should have put the Town Store in play. Use the Town Store, thin out a tool if there's anything left, and then discard the Town Store, but save the Pokestop to draw into off an Iono. Feels better than not. I don't know. I feel like Evan should have maybe gone with Town Store and saved Pokestop. I don't know. All right, here we go. Pokestop, no hits. Doesn't matter though. Those are all cards that are fine, probably getting milled away anyways. Attached to the Moon. Start right with the Moltres. And then yeah, we do have the Calamity Storm from the Damage Roaring Moon here to knock out this Rotom. And there's the boss in the hand already here for Evan to win the game on the next turn. Treat. And here we go. Let me Storm knockout. Now the Radiant Charizard is online for Joe. So Joe can take the knockout on the active here. And then would probably like an Iono to go with this whole combination here. Thinking about using Arven. Only has Arven, actually, so has to use Arven. Tool card, Ultra Ball. There is an Ultra Ball left in the deck, but like I was saying, we wouldn't have to get this Ultra Ball here. Off this Arven if we had just kept the Ultra Ball out of the last hand, which we should have kept. We should have kept the other Ultra Ball there out of that last hand and gotten rid of the energy, I think. And then we could have Arven for Super Rod here if we needed it. But honestly, I don't even think we did because of this Gust KO. Then we have 1 energy left in the deck plus 1 energy on this bench Charmander. So his extra energy in the hand is just useless at this point. Accelerating this last energy out of the deck here. Did Joe even get a tool card off that Arven there? There was a TM Devo in the deck, I'm pretty sure I saw, but Evolve to Charmeleon, and there's the knockout on the Roaring Moon. I actually think this is incorrect from Joe to evolve to Charmeleon here. I guess it doesn't really matter because the Radiant Charizard is still currently stuck, so it's like the same thing, right? I was gonna say I didn't like the idea of the evolving to the Charmeleon here because if Evan went boss up the Charmeleon, you can't retreat it for 1 energy. But your Radiant Charizard is also stuck for the same reason, so I guess it's like equal here, so it doesn't matter to evolve to Charmeleon or not, to be honest. When I watched it live, that's what I thought, but yeah, thinking about it more, the Radiant Charizard is the exact same thing. All right. There's the energy from Evan, though, and the boss was in the hand, like I mentioned. And there's the KO on the Luminion. Yeah, the big thing here, I think it was just Joe being too aggressive. I think they were both just too aggressive on their turn, too. I think Evan was too aggressive with the Forest Seal Stone. I think Joe was too aggressive with the Candy Switch punch. Just chill. Draw 3 more, throw them, get Pidgey in play, get some Charmanders down. Like, if you can get into a board state where you can attack or threaten the attack of, like, Radiant Charizard back-to-back, or just attack with Radiant Charizard without too many 2 prizes in play, you just win as Joe.